Can you imagine walking through the halls in a public school hearing absolutely silence? With the recent financial crisis within the United States, many public schools are cutting their funding for their elective programs such as art and music classes. This has affected not only the tax-paying citizens, but as well as the quality of education that our students are getting. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how schools are funded first, and then the pros and the cons of cutting such programs. The funding of federal school or of public schools comes from federal, state, and local taxes. So when our taxes increase, some of that money goes towards public schools and the classes that they can offer. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, more than 95% of school-aged children are attending schools that have cut funding since the recession. Schools in wealthier neighborhoods that faced budget cuts were able to make up for these losses through private donations, while in impoverished neighborhoods have not. This means that when schools cut their fundings, some of the wealthier neighborhoods have been able to keep open those programs because of private donations, while as schools that are known for having a higher minority population have not been able to upkeep their schools' elective programs. Some of the benefits of keeping or of doing away with elective programs are that this can help to keep taxes lower. When we are able to appropriately budget schools, we are able to keep our taxes low so that we are not paying in extra for something that some see as a program that is not needed. There is also a benefit of keeping schools open by cutting these programs. Some people think that if we cut out the elective programs, then kids are able to focus more on their core classes such as English, science, math, those classes that are tested on in standardized testing throughout the United States. The average school spends between $328 to $446 per student for core classes such as math, English, and science, whereas elective programs cost an average of $464 per student per year. This means that elective programs are not only more expensive than the core classes, but they're also seen as not needed. And again, as I said, a lot of people have noticed going through blogs and forums online, most people are thinking that if they cut out the elective classes such as art and music, kids will be able to focus more on their core classes such as math and science that are seen as being more important to an education. However, on the contrary, there is a lot of studies out there that show there is many benefits to having elective courses such as art and music. Some of these pros to keeping these classes available to students are that test scores are seen to be improved with students who are exposed to art and music. PublicSchoolsReview.com published an article addressing the cuts being made to elective programs. Author Grace Chen states, according to a profile of SAT data, students with coursework experience in math performance and music appreciation scored higher on the SAT. Students in music performance scored 57 points higher on the verbal and 41 points higher on the math. And students in music appreciation scored 63 points higher on verbal and 44 points higher on the math than did students with no arts participation. Adding to this, a study of 237 second grade children demonstrated improvement in math skills when using piano keyboard training and newly designed math software. The group scored 27% higher on proportional math and fractions testing than children that did not use the math software. So you can see that there's a lot of studies that have been done that show that art and music programs are not only good for a personal outlet, they are actually benefiting core classes that are seen to be as more important. So, in addition to these, we all know that there are kids out there who are not math whizzes and are not English professors, and they're never going to be, book writers or, scientists, but they express themselves through art and music. I myself was one of these students. Math, science, and English were not my strong core classes. So we are seeing a lot of students who are admitting to staying in school simply because there are art and music classes that are available to them through the school system, and that is something that they're truly interested in and passionate about. So, the taxes that we pay and the quality of education that our youth receive are affected by schools cutting their elective programs. I hope you can see that the funding has pros and cons to cutting these programs, and that maybe that we can find other solutions, such as more evenly distributing funds, cutting a little bit from the football program and having them do some more fundraisers so that we can keep art and music programs alive within our schools.